Another Thursday and another edition of the Field Notes Podcast. I'm Jake Rowe. With me again is Kimberly Lee. Round two of her podcast career is underway after killing it last week. And Kimberly, we've got a huge show today, kind of a long one because we talked to the guys at Boars and Broads, our friend Ryne Rankin, our friend Carter Schultz, one of the most entertaining interviews we'll ever do on Boars and Broads. I can't wait for you guys to hear about Stinky Pete. That's going to be a good one. Also, we've got some intel on the rut in the state of Georgia. Going to show you the rut map, but we're also going to get some information from our deer advisors over our deer hunting advisors over at GON, and they're going to give us a little bit of a update there. It's going to come from us, but it actually comes from them. And then we're going to talk truck buck. Obviously, we got to show you the bucks that were taken since the last episode. And then we got a really cool hunt story from a kid named Levon Overholt down in Peach County. But, hey, you may not be ready for this, Kimberly. I don't know. But how you doing? I just want to check in with you here real quick.
Doing well. It's a little chilly here in Georgia right now, but as you already mentioned, that means the rut. So yeah, there's good and bad that comes with these temperature changes for sure. But I'm doing well, Jake.
Yeah, it's especially cold in the GON Outdoors podcast studio right now. It is absolutely chilly here. That's why both of us are in our hoodies and jackets and everything else. But we're loving it, man. We are absolutely loving it. And listen, if you hunt in the state of Georgia, right, you are right now getting ready for the rut, or you're in the middle of it, or whatever. There's our rut map 2025. This is not a hard line, hey, if your county's in this area, it's this or that. That's not quite the way this works, but this kind of breaks it down. You can find this over at Georgia Outdoor News, find it on our website, gon.com. And listen, this is what kind of everybody waits for every year. This is when that buck you've been waiting to daylight all year, it's when he finally daylights. This is when it's also when he tends to run across the road hormone driven and get hit by a car too, which is not what you want to see. But we got a little bit of info. What's that?
Looking for love.
Looking for love. That's right. Plenty of bucks are on the move right now. We told you, Braylon and I told you about the acorns a couple weeks ago and kind of how things were going in that way. Well, now that's not the driving factor for most of the deer in Georgia. It is, food's still a big factor, but like Kimberly said, they're looking for love. They're looking to make it happen. And hey, that's when everybody kind of gets out and you get a chance to see some different stuff and when patterns start to change a little bit for these guys. But Kimberly, we're going to go ahead and jump in here real quick. I'm going to leave the rut map up, but let's check in with our hunt advisors. Tim Danger over in Cherokee County. What did he have to say?
Yeah, so he actually gave us a report over in the Cherokee County area, but also on the Chattahoochee National Forest area. Out in Cherokee County area, he said full rut action is expected around the 20th, so later half of next week, and to run through Thanksgiving. And he also said the North Georgia mountains are kicking up too, looking to kind of be in full swing by Thanksgiving and lasting through all of December. The bucks are in great shape and spending a lot more time marking their territory.
Yeah, that comes from the acorns. Obviously they're all fueled up, ready to go. They've fed up, and now they're kind of marking their territory a lot more. What about a little further south there in Crisp County? What's going on there?
Yeah, Jody Manders over the Crisp County area said rut activity is kind of non-existent thus far, but should really pick up soon. And when it does, it expects it to be fast-paced, full of action. Said it's about to happen. So y'all get ready down there in the Crisp County area.
For sure, yeah. And I checked in with Josh Blackson down from Cook County. And, the rut's right on schedule. But normally he says it's kind of a bell curve type situation. Kind of trickles in, it peaks, and then it kind of winds down. He said this year, a lot faster. Got off to a lot quicker start. Mm-hmm. The courtships, they all started early this year. Now, with that said, there's a lot more scrapes, a lot more roadkill, stuff like that. The deer are certainly moving, the bucks are moving, and they're seeing more of that. I mean, obviously that affects the does too. But yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing. You know, we got in touch with a few of our deer advisors, kind of tried to trickle it north, middle, south Georgia there the best we could. And those are the ones that checked in with us and let us know kind of the nuance, that I would say, as far as how the rut's going. And then obviously that's a big part of truck buck ultimately. I mean, you know, that's going to drive a lot of what we see coming in from the truck buck. And obviously one of the first bucks I saw this week, to me, clearly kind of looked like he was in some, you know, dealing with the rut already. And our man Cameron Harrington over here in Jackson County.
The first thing that stood out for me, those pit vipers, man. Shout out to Mr. Harrington for those pit vipers he's got up there. Let me know if those help you out when you're in the woods or the stand there, Mr. Harrington, because if they do, I might need to have to go ahead and slip and get a pair. But man, what a great deer. You know, growing up adjacent to Jackson County, and you as well, Jake, that as a resident, you know, it's pretty cool to see nice, solid, mature bucks coming out of the area that we're so familiar with.
No doubt about it. So, Kimberly, tell us about truck buck before we get a little bit too far into this. Tell us, break it down for us.
Yeah, so we are in our 37th year of truck buck. It's an annual contest. It's Georgia's premier big deer contest, and to my knowledge, there's not another in the country like it. So basically, you got to be a subscriber at minimum 24 hours prior to harvesting your deer. Once you harvest that deer, you can use this truck buck entry form here. Click the link, put everything in there, and then throughout the 17 weeks of deer season, we'll have 17 weekly winners, 4 wild cards. So all these deer are displayed on our website here on GON.com, truck buck tab. You can view the truck buck entries. But then once deer season concludes, we actually have truck buck official scoring events. We'll have one down in South Georgia in Tifton. It'll be a part of our South Georgia Spring Sportsman Expo on March 7th. We'll send out all those details to the contestants, and bring your deer, man. Even if you feel like you're not measuring up, that you may not be the winner for that week, you never know who's going to not show up with their deer. And you could fall into a wild card category. Anything is possible. And at the minimum, I just want to see these awesome deer. I want to see the racks in person. I want to see, you know, I want to talk to the hunters. I want to meet these people and learn all about what it is. And then from there, we'll have our North Georgia deer scoring event, which will be on March 14th in Watkinsville. Again, more information will be sent out about that. Same thing, bring your rack. We want to see them. We want to talk to you. We want to get to know the rack and know the hunter. About 2.5 weeks after that, we'll announce who won their weeks and the wild cards, and you'll get an invitation to come to the Ag Pro GON Outdoor Blast at Lake Point Sports in Emerson, Georgia, where you'll get a chance to stand on the platform, shoot the pellet rifle at the egg, and potentially drive away with a brand new Chevy Trail Boss from John Meagle Chevrolet in Dawsonville, Georgia. Now, the cool part, Jake, if you're a youth hunter, you can potentially win the Youth Big Buck and Truck Buck. So Youth Big Buck grand prize winner gets a $3,000 shopping spree to Adventure Outdoors. And if they also win their week, they can shoot for a truck too. Pretty cool deal.
No doubt about it. I got a chance to be a part of it, to watch it, to see it all unfold this past year. Man, it was so fun. Our man Daryl Gay does a tremendous job emceeing the event. It's incredible. Go check it out. If you love to hunt, if you love competition, get in, jump in, subscribe to GON now, and make sure that, listen, rut's here, right? So subscribe. That way, when you drop that 13, 14 point that's been on your radar, been on your trail camera, hey, that way you can go ahead and enter them in, possibly walk out with a $70,000 pickup truck at the end of everything, which would, I think, be a welcome for anybody. But here are some of our entries this week. And, you know, obviously I love to go through these. My favorite part of my week, Kimberly, is going through these for the podcast, picking these out, and just the little nuances, the little changes, the little things that kind of go on that make these things different. This is Cameron Harrington, obviously out of Jackson County. He calls us a vampire deer, not because of its teeth, but because it didn't daylight forever. And then now he finally gets it to come out into the daylight and takes a really good looking 8-point.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe that's what the pit vipers are about. Maybe they allow him to like see before shooting light so he can prepare when he steps out that split second and shooting light. I got to talk to Mr. Harrington about that.
That's right. Rick Bartley's down there hunting in, for all intents and purposes, Valhalla when it comes to hunting deer in the state of Georgia. Worth County is the biggest bucks county in the state. He took a 12 point out of there, but what impressed me here, 238 pounds.
Yeah.
Another fat deer.
Jake, I think what stuck out to me about Mr. Bartley's deer here is that this was his first time in the stand this season, and just so happened to take this big body deer here. So great job to Rick there.
Our man Eric Schnitzler over in McDuffie County, gorgeous buck. I love the color of that buck. I'm sorry if you're listening and you can't see this because it's got this kind of tan color to it. And this one kind of hits close to home for me because, down in Pearson, my people were really affected by Hurricane Helene. And he talked about how it was really tough to drag this deer out of the woods with all the trees still down from Helene because everybody's still kind of feeling the effects of that. But to that point, I've talked to so many hunters that were in the kind of Helene's path this past year who were just excited to be able to get back out into the woods after that hurricane that what was it, 14 months ago, something like that. Folks are still feeling the effects, but at least they don't have to kind of, work around it or not hunt this year because they're able to get back out there and enjoy it.
That's right.
You got Sean Lumsden up next, my man out of Talbot County. Rough score, 150 and an eighth on this deer, and named it Showstopper, which, kind of reminded me a little bit of Show Dog, which was the Brantley Gilbert buck that was our cover story this past week at GON.
That's right. Jake, Sean actually took another buck as well.
Okay.
That he had called. It's kind of funny, and it sticks out with me because, often in the office I get picked on that I might need subtitles because my eyes sound a little funny. So he had nicknamed this other deer. He took Wide 9. But during the conversation with him and his wife, she's been calling it White Knight because she thought he said White Knight. So the deer has been renamed White Knight, but he's another awesome. It actually turned out to be a 10 point, but those pictures are online as well. So awesome season for Sean so far, for sure.
Miss Holly Warren from Crawford County, 8 point, beautiful 8 point. What cracked me up about this is she said, listen, this deer was harassing a doe. Like she just sit there and watched him harass. You talk about looking for love. She was harassing a doe. She took a shot, wasn't sure exactly what happened, didn't see the deer run off. All she saw was kind of a poof of smoke out of the end of the rifle. And her husband flipped out when he saw, that she had dropped this big 9. Actually, this is a 9 point, not an 8 point. She had dropped this big 9 point and ultimately was just ecstatic that she was able to do it. My wife's not much into deer hunting, but I'd be pretty fired up if she killed a deer bigger than me.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun reading the description in her truck buck entry because she explains things like I do. Everything needs an exclamation point, but I know she was using all those exclamation points because that's how she was feeling, So it was fun to read. So make sure you go check out Holly's story. It was cool.
No doubt. And then Patrick Mitchell, Turner County, down there in South Georgia, right there next to I-75, a little bit north of Tifton. Beautiful 11 point here. I always love the stories where I can't find him, and you take one more shot and you find him. He found this one the next morning. Old man right there looking good. Not Patrick. He's not old. The deer is an old man. And that's a good looking buck right there. I always like it when they have that kind of thick tuft and that thick skin right there on their forehead. It kind of makes me, hey, that deer's got some age on him. Good mature buck.
That's right.
And then we got my man Levon Overholt from Peach County. You see that deer. I see that deer. We're all looking at how impressive that joker is right there. Believe that is a 13 point from Levon, who is 18 years old, and that's the biggest deer he's ever killed. And we've got to get into the hunt story a little bit deeper here because Levon wasn't targeting this buck when he went out. He actually was on a doe thinning mission with his dad, with his granddad, and with his brothers. My favorite thing about this story, Kimberly, is dad and granddad stayed on task. They knew the assignment. They went out and killed several does between the two. Levon got a little sidetracked.
Rightfully so, though, right?
Yeah.
Before you let me know, once you let me know we were going to discuss this story today, I had jumped on and really was reading, and man, I was hooked. It was like a book you can't put down, because you talk about so much action on a deer that you weren't even like planning to go after that day. You know, it's not like it was his target buck. They had maybe like seen him, I think maybe like once on a camera before or something along those lines. This property isn't really known for a lot of big bucks, which is why they're on a doe thinning mission. But this story is packed with action. It speaks to the type of hunter Levon is, the patience and maturity and persistence. I mean, I read that he had to draw back twice. He had to talk to the buck. The buck was snorting at him. He was snorting at the buck. Like, you just couldn't put that story down, man.
Yeah, he snort wheezed at him a couple of times. The funny thing to me, to start the hunt was, he went in there, he was chasing a 10-point that he had seen, and his brother had talked him into going after it. But when he got in there, he's 18, so obviously he hasn't, I've lived 24 more years of life than this kid. But he spends a lot of time in the woods, and he was like, man, I've never heard anything like it. Sounded like a pig. It was grunting, it was snorting, it was snort wheezing, it was doing everything. And then, so he knew there was a mature buck in the area. Then he saw this one stick out. Drop tine was visible. He's like, there's only one buck up here with the drop tine. This is the big one. Said he started shaking uncontrollably. Like you said, he pulled his bow back and thought he was going to get a shot at the buck, but he couldn't. And the buck could see him, but he couldn't get a shot. Ultimately had to kind of wait. And then he started kind of getting a little jittery there, getting a little weak from holding his bow back. And a doe that was in the area popped out, turned its head, and allowed him to kind of let off. Then the buck went in the woods. He snorted him back out. And then sadly, the frustrating part is, this buck actually had, and you can see it right here. I don't know if, you can see it right there on the screen. It actually had a broadhead lodged in its forehead. So this was a true blue bruiser right here.
Yep. That's what I said the first time you showed it to me, like, man, look at that bruiser. Look at that life he's lived. And I read in your story that they thought that was a pretty recent wound as well.
That's right. Yeah. So, I honestly don't know what that would have meant for the buck, long term, but Levon wasn't even fired up about his shot, wasn't fired up about, where it hit in his shoulder. He saw the arrow sticking out as he ran away. But ultimately they found it a couple hours later. Didn't go very far. It was an ethical kill. And, I don't know what would have happened with that wound right there, in the long term, but certainly not a good thing. And, congratulations to Levon for that. I mean, that's going to be one of those tough ones to beat for the week, no doubt about it, because he said, I believe, that it scored 180 1/8 inches, non-typical. So, obviously there'll be some deductions on that. But Granddad, who's 92 years old and submitted a Henry Overholt, who submitted a truck buck entry. And actually Levon told me that Henry that morning, again, at 92 years old, had killed a 150-inch deer already. The morning I spoke to him, they're all over it there in Macon and Peach counties. But Granddad got does, Dad got does, not Levon. He went ahead and that the reason they were thinning the does is they were just tearing up their beans in the area. Like they were just, chowing down on their bean crop over there in that area. And so they went in to try and kind of take a few of them, get some meat in the freezer and maybe help themselves out. But Levon wasn't having any of that. He saw horns.
I can't wait to see all the Overholts, all their harvest this season, but especially Levon and this deer down in Tifton at Deer Sporting South at our spring expo down there. Because this is one, as impressive as the buck is, the story is just as impressive. And I can't wait to see Levon and the rack in person.
No, me neither. Well, Kimberly, we've made folks wait long enough. We got a big interview coming with some hog doggers, and I'm pretty excited about it.
That's right. So we are welcoming Ryne, Rankin, and Carter Schultz on Hog Doggers. They live, breathe, eat hog dogging. I'm excited for them to share with all of us who are listening, all of us GONers, what hog dogging is and why these guys are obsessed with it. And I think you'll enjoy hearing from them as much as we did.
All right, Kimberly, we got something a little different today on the Field Notes podcast. Boars and Broads. All right. If you're not familiar, get familiar because it's entertaining. It's fun. Two good dudes, Carter Schultz and Ryne Rankin, run this thing. And we got both of them on to talk with us on episode 4 of the Field Notes. And let's go ahead and get them in here. Ryne and Carter, could not be more appreciative of you taking some time out of your day to make it work and join us.
Oh, heck yeah. We appreciate y'all, man, for having us on. Really thankful for the opportunity.
Man, it's
no doubt.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Love y'all's content. Love what y'all do. I've known Ryne since, for a while. It's not like we talk every day or anything like that, but I covered you at Georgia and, know you a little bit. Don't know Carter quite as well, but I do know you guys love dogs, you love hog hunting, and you love to put them together. Hog Doggers, deluxe, and y'all make it happen. So I guess we can kind of start here. What are y'all up to these days? Like so you do this for kind of a hobby. What's everyday life for you guys? And I can start with Ryne.
Everyday life for me. I got done playing ball at Georgia. I met my beautiful wife. She's a veterinarian in Athens. We live out in Oglethorpe County now. I'm currently a firefighter in Clark County. I've been there going on 6 years now. And if I ain't chasing hogs around, I'm chasing these little youngins I got. I got a 6-year-old girl, a 4-year-old girl, and a 6-month-old son. So if I ain't out in the woods, I'm chasing them kids around.
What about you, Carter?
What I'm up to. So the work I do now, I work for this conservation company, and so we're predominantly, the majority of my work is in Guam, as a matter of fact. So I just got back from about 3.5 months in Guam and trying to get readjusted, and my dog's back. I got my dogs spread out all over the place. Ryne had a couple, another buddy had a couple. So I just been running around trying to get them back and all that good stuff. So it's been a lot of fun getting back home. It's a lot colder than Guam, but I actually enjoying it a little bit this year. So, but
awesome.
Yeah, we do conservation work out there, and it's nice because I get to take dogs, and I've hunted dogs internationally now, so I can say that. But at the same time, it's still work. Like, it's not like I get to go and have fun with Ryne and my other buddies. It's still work. It's still a job, and there's still pressures of, and for me, it's nice to get back home and actually get to have fun and not get paid for chasing stuff around.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about what Boars and Broads is, what led you guys to this point. Kind of, we talked on the phone about how you guys got started and what led you here. But y'all kind of tell everybody watching and listening today what it's all about and how y'all got started.
I'll let Carter take the cake on that one.
So oddly enough, it started, I guess we started in 2020. In like 2019, TikTok was just coming on the scene. And honestly, like, I didn't want my name associated with it because I just made an account because I'd seen a couple funny videos, but I figured it was just still like a dancing platform or whatever, people doing stupid dances on there and whatnot. So I didn't really want my name attached to it. And then so I come up with the name Boars and Broads. And I think like the first 3 accounts that I made, we hit like 50,000 followers, and they ultimately got deleted because TikTok is heavily anti hunting and our way of life. But we've kind of found a way to mitigate that now. But Ryne, being the businessman that he is, he's like, man, we ought to make a company. So neither one of us know how to run a company or know what we needed to do. But we started it and have just kind of stumbled all the way through it now. So we still don't know what we're doing, but we try real hard. So
that's awesome. That is really cool. Really, really cool. Ryne, would you have anything to add to that about how y'all got started or the role you play?
Well, we always wanted, like, since I got done playing football, like, I hog hunted my whole life, and then got out, played football, had a little hiatus, and then I met Carter in college. And then when we got done, we were hunting all the time together. And we always wanted to come up with a business. And then Carter's little platform kind of blew up. And I was like, dude, let's just call it that and run with it. So we did that, and the sky's the limit, man. We've done so much stuff with it and met so many good people. And I'm really thankful for trying to capitalize on the opportunity that with Carter's business name and Boars and Broads as a whole.
So obviously, most of the time you see somebody that's really involved with something in the outdoors. It's not the only thing they do. What we'll start with you, Carter. What got you started in the outdoors? When did it kind of click that like, hey, I want to be outside, I want to be hunting, I want to be fishing, I want to be doing something like that? What was your kind of origin story as an outdoorsman?
Probably my origin story. I mean, I've been fishing my entire life. My dad fished bass tournaments. So like I was always on the water. Always had a good time. And when I was young, I watched Dean Rojas win a frog tournament on Okeechobee, or a fishing tournament on Okeechobee, throwing a frog the whole time. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. I wanted to be, I fished a lot of tournaments. I fished in my freshman year at Valdosta State. I fished on their team. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm probably going to try and just take a year and go fish some qualifiers and some opens and whatnot. And then plans kind of changed when I met Ryne at UGA. We started talking about hunting. And I had been around a little bit of dogs and hogs, but predominantly like my thing with dogs was majority squirrel hunting. We had a good family friend that had some mountain curs, and they could do just about anything. They'd go fetch doves and then go tree a squirrel if if the dove flew back in an oak bottom. But and then I met Ryne, and he was like, "Man, you ought to come hunting with me." And ever since then, I mean, it's been full on dogs. I still love to go fish. I've kind of gone from like heavy bass fishing, still love bass fishing, but now it's like I want to go catch something big. So I fish for stripers predominantly up here, and then I love catching big bull reds and things like that in saltwater. So it's been funny, kind of the transformation. I still love fishing. People still ask me all the time if I'm still fishing, but yeah, no, it's dogs. I told Jake earlier, and I'll have to credit Uncle Pat for this, but I don't hunt anything. He was asking me if I go deer hunting, and I was like, I don't hunt anything without dogs. I don't even go hunt Easter eggs without dogs. So that's kind of where I'm at. I really enjoy the dog aspect of it and watching them grow and progress. And it's really nice when you pour a lot of time into something and you get to see the natural maturing of the dog, and it turned into something that you really like and can really be proud of.
Ryne, before we get to your origin story as kind of a outdoorsman, how quick of a study was Carter? Watching, like you, it sounds like you kind of knew the deal. You were into it. How quick did he catch on?
With Carter, with the dogs and everything?
Yeah.
He took it to like duck takes the water, man. The first hunt we went on, we got on some hogs, and they were bait up, and I remember running about 400 yards to get to these dogs, and Carter was right behind me, right there in the thick of it, in the brush and the briars, and he never hesitated. So I knew he was going to be good. So
I followed you for a little while, Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff. I mean, you seem to be into all of it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of outdoorsman stuff you're not into. What's kind of your jam?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad obviously is a big role model in my life. He got me into hunting and fishing and everything like that. Ever since I can remember, man, I remember shooting my first buck when I was in second grade behind some dogs in Geneva, Florida, because I grew up in East Orlando, Florida. We shot some dogs with some running walkers and beagles with Jeffrey Puckett. And ever since then, dude, I don't know. Ever since I was little, I just remember being outside doing something, fishing, hunting, and anything. It could be catching bass in the canals in Florida or redfish in the Mesquite Lagoon. My dad was doing it with me. Or it could have been frog gigging in the canals or catching hogs on the St. Johns River on the airboat. So it's just I never not remember doing something outdoors, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
it's always been a way in my life. And like I said, I transitioned. I met my buddy Austin Nettles and Brett Nettles when I was in middle school in East Orlando, and they got me into hog hunting with dogs. Like I said, I deer hunted with dogs before that, but they got me into hog hunting with dogs, and it kind of took over my life into going into my senior year in high school. Then I ended up going to UGA Like I said, I took a little break, and my dad had some dogs. And immediately right when I got done, I mean, obviously I hunted and fished throughout college because that's all I could find time. And when I could find the time to do it, and I didn't have time to keep a dog or anything like that. But as soon as I finished playing ball, it was right back to the woods, hog dogging again, because it's crazy, man. It's something. I say it's the closest rush. Like, I've shot 150-inch deer. I've caught 10-pound bass. I've shot turkeys that I could reach out and grab, sitting there gobbling their head off right in front of me. But there's nothing like sending the dogs out, going to find hogs and banging up a stud and sitting there and catching it and tying it up or dispatching or what have you. It's almost like I get the same adrenaline rush like I was running down kickoff in Sanford Stadium. The next closest thing that I have, I could say, to do in hog hunting with dogs is bear hunting with dogs. And I just got back, I believe in mid-September. We went down to Fargo, Georgia, near the Okefenokee Swamp. Yeah. And we got out there some bears with my buddy Cody Godwin and Walt Musgroves and Kerry Brown, a bunch of people down there. They're legends down that way. But we had a great time.
That's awesome to hear. You know, when Jake and I were talking about you guys and what y'all do, I was telling him, I was like, look, I didn't know anything about hog hunting outside of, hey, I'm in the stand and there's a hog in my food plot. I probably need to get it. Like, I didn't know nothing about hog dogging. You guys kind of had to educate me on that and why y'all do what y'all do. Carter, if you were to tell anybody listening today, like, what is hog dogging and why you do it, can you kind of give them like a brief synopsis of what y'all do and why you do it, to kind of like let the rest of the world see your passion and why y'all do what you do?
Yeah. So the origin behind hogs and dogs, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of when the pork prices plummeted in the 1960s, a lot of people had hogs that they would pasture raise, and then they would let them out in the oak bottoms to go eat acorns, and then they would use dogs to help gather them like you would a cow or sheep or anything else. So they were treated as a stock. And when the pork prices plummeted in the 1960s, there were some wild hogs, but not that many. A lot of those were Russian imports that had escaped from big game ranches or whatnot. And then when they shut down the free range, when the pork prices plummeted, people just left their gates open. And so then you get your domestic hogs that breed with the Russian or Spanish influence hogs. And then that's where our feral hogs come from now. And as far as me, it's just it's a way of life at this point. Like I get to be around, you know, something that I helped create, although the dogs are bred for it. You know, a lot of people get this misconstrued and act like act like we make the dogs go hunt. And, you know, if I could make a dog go hunt, I would have a lot better dogs than I have. But they love it. And I mean, even to this day, my first dog and one of the best dogs I've had, Champ, he's only 3-legged, and he lost a leg a couple years ago. And like, I can jangle my Garmin collar and he still goes berserk. He absolutely, that's Champ in the picture there, but he absolutely that's all he wants to do. I mean, he lives a life of luxury with my mom. He gets treats all the time. He sleeps inside. He's got 2 dog beds, one in the living room, one in their room. And he will give all that up in a heartbeat just to go to the woods and go find hogs. Like, I mean, just watching the passion that those dogs have for it. I mean, they don't know any different. That's all they want to do. That's all they're bred for. That's just like, they're like, I will drop anything. I will give everything up just to go to the woods and go hunt. And it's really fun to take a dog. I mean, I got Champ when he was 6 months old, or not 6 months old, 6 weeks old. And to watch him now, he's 8 years old now, 8 or 9, something like that. But to watch him, you know, grow up and progress and hit his prime, and then to watch him now, I mean, even now, like, I went to the wild hog field trials, which is like, it's kind of like a rodeo for dogs and hogs. Like, it's not a blood sport. They just bay the hogs and they're judged on that. But like, to watch him get to do his thing out there, and like, you could just tell, like, he's just so fired up and he loves it. And just to get out there and still do it with 3 legs. Like he has a blast. But I mean, the funny part about him is like I would take him to the woods, but he's old and ornery. Like I think the last time I took him hunting was, I don't know, it was like probably a month, maybe 3 weeks after he got his leg amputated, and I took him with Ryne, and our style has kind of shifted from the dogs that we were running when he was predominantly in our pack, because Ryne had his brother, and they were pretty rough. Like if them two were together, like they're usually going to catch it. And now we've shifted to more bay dogs, so they bark more and we can take our time and relax a little bit more. It's not as strenuous. And so we had like 4 looser dogs and then him. And I was like, okay, maybe you won't be a butthead today. Well, dogs strike good fresh track going across the road, and they run in there about 300 yards, and they are just singing to this hog. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's probably a good hog. And then, boom, you hear this big scrap happen. And I was like, oh, man, Champ just tried to catch it. And, with those dogs, like they're not necessarily looking to help him. They will get in there and help him, but they're not really looking for him to go in there and try and catch it. They wait till we get there and send the bulldog or tell him to get out and shoot it. And, for about 30 minutes, they're running around trying to find this hog that just busted. And here comes Champ. He's like gassed. He's like, and he's got this big old gash on his shoulder, and he's just happy as a lark. And he was the only one. He went in there and pogo sticked right up to it and tried to catch it. And me and Ryne just looked at each other and shook our heads. But, like they just love it. Like it's hard not to love when you get to see the work and drive that those dogs have, and just getting to see something that you didn't create, but it's still yours. Go out there and perform, and you have a product that you can be happy of. Like, I don't ever think that I will have a dog that I can say, oh, well, that's the best that I can do, because there's always something that you can strive for. And there's never like a peak. You can't go win the Bassmaster Classic in hog hunting. Like there's always something more attainable. There's always okay, well, I really like the way this dog did this, and this. And then, but I can improve on this area, and it's something that you can always chase a little bit better. And that's something that I really enjoy about it.
Yeah. Awesome. Ryne, what about you? What is one thing that you would, if you could pick one thing that you'd want, the outdoor community to know about hog dogging, what would that be?
That it's fair chase. You get a lot of these, not trying to make a big debacle of it, because I do still hunt, do shoot deer like that, but there is a bunch of still hunters that think it's not a fair chase because you got an animal, quote unquote, trained to go after another animal and then capture it or kill it. Me and Carter can talk and tell you a million times how many times we've been to the woods with these trained dogs and not killed or caught anything. They think it's so easy until you get a hunter that doesn't do it to go and try it, and they're like, wow, this is actually hard. And I believe it's the most fair chase thing you can happen. Like we're not sitting over a pile of corn at a deer feeder waiting, shooting a hog 200 yards away, 300 yards away. We're not at nighttime with thermals blasting hogs in the field and letting them run off the rot and die. So the animal knows it's being chased. It's going to try as hard as it can to get away. So I want people to know in the hunting community that it is the most fair chase I could say, besides behind like archery hunting with a recurve bow or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and also on top of that, it's an invasive species. Like they breed kind of out of control like that. I mean, they can be a nuisance and stuff. I mean, they're like Carter was talking about. I mean, you got a contract to go work in Guam. Obviously, there's a control aspect of this. There's a nobility to kind of being out there and hunting this animal and kind of making doing your part to make sure it doesn't get out of control.
Yeah, and they always get a bad rap, man. So you get like these hog doggers get a bad rap. They're thinking any dog hunter, it could be deer or not deer, but because deer are actually trained to get after deer, but hogs, squirrels, coon dogs, coyote dogs, stuff like that. These deer hunters they'll complain about these hogs all year long they're on their deer feeders, and then they won't let you come do nothing about them. There's been many a times me and Carter have walked up to 140, 150 inch bucks bedded down the ground, and the bay's going on 100 yards away, and the dogs are just hammering. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, Carter, how many times have we if we really wanted to be like illegal poachers or something like that, we could have shot some Boone and Crockett's with some guns. You know what I'm talking about? We've seen some massive deer, and they just bedded down, not a care in the world. And that's a stigma I want to break, is that all the dog hunters aren't bad. Yes, you have few and far between. You do have some bad apples in a bunch, but you got them in deer hunting too. I mean, you got them in everything.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of what Ryne's saying. Kimberly, I got kind of off topic about, what's one thing that I want people to know. If I had one thing to let the general public know, like, we legitimately, truly care for these dogs.
Yep.
Like, I've seen some of the toughest, absolute, just tough as nails guys cry like a baby when they lose a dog. It's not. They're not expendable to us. You can't just go grow another one on a tree and get all the experiences that you've had with that. And when you pour yourself into something like that, and you get in these situations, like, you get in terrible situations sometimes where it's you and the dogs, and y'all are all trying to figure it out. And when you lose one of those dogs, like, it really weighs on you, and it's not something that we take lightly. We don't take the care of our dogs lightly. I mean, obviously, understand there are people that do this that don't take care of their dogs, but there's people that own house dogs that don't take care of their dogs. Like, the people that excel at this and they do really well with this, you can always see there's a great relationship between dog and handler. The dogs care for them. They want to be around them. They want to do well for them. And, it's legitimately, we truly care about these animals and we want the best for them. So.
And I think the first time that we all talked, you guys, were teaching me and explaining to me, and I knew this from the bird dog aspect. I didn't know about hog dogging, but I knew it from the bird dog aspect, that if you have a working dog, for that dog to be healthy and happy and have everything they need to have, they got to be worked, right?
Right.
Yep.
That's
100%.
exactly
it. People get these breeds of dogs and keep them up in the house, and they wonder why they're chewing their furniture up or going out or going crazy. Yeah, it's because you got that type of dog. And my wife's a veterinarian, and she can testify that people have humanized dogs so bad, and not saying that for the care of them, they treat them like humans. Like you're I don't know. What's what we're gonna say? Like your GSP is not supposed to be meant to be in the house and hang out on your couch all day. It's gonna run around as fast as it can. It's meant to be outside and running around.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dog in here. I brought it in here that got cut down, and I kept it in the house. Well, she got out of her kennel and ate my blinds in my whole house, like trying to get out of the house because she didn't want in the house. So yeah, you got people have misconstrued and humanized dogs so much that they forget what their purpose in life was. But even back in the day, like you can breed genetics out, like some genetics, but it's still deep down, it's in there, and they're gonna go out in there and try to hunt.
That's right.
So Carter, I want to start with you here. I got to hear about your favorite hunt story, because when I think of what you guys do, it seems like the kind of thing that's like, the weirder and wilder and crazier it gets, the more fun it is. So I may be wrong on that. I mean, maybe
until it's not.
No, I mean, yeah, it's
until it's not.
We've heard some things already. We've heard that you'll go to extreme lengths. So
this is a great time until it's not, right? So, Carter, what's your favorite hunt? What did kind of give us the cliff notes of your best hunt?
Oddly enough, we were just on another podcast and we got asked this, and it's really hard to boil it down to just one. But the one most recently that was probably one of my favorite hunts. We were down on Lake Blackshear hunting. It was me, Ryne, Brett Nettles, and Cody Godwin, and our family,
our family.
Yeah, and I mean, we got all the kids and whatnot, and so we oddly enough, I mean, we have like 15, 16 dogs. all in the buggy and whatnot. And typically when we run, we have, 2 or 3 on the ground at a time. Well, Champ and my dog 12, my 3-legged dog, and then my bay pen dog go out and strike a wad of hogs. And a big sow comes out across the road, and Cody dumps about 7 more dogs onto it. And so we started that hog there. My little girl, Jip, she runs about a mile in the opposite direction from all the other dogs and finds a hog by herself, like a little shoat. So I drive over there and get her. And by this time, the race is on. We got like 7 or 8 dogs on this big sow. I think she was, 250 pounds, Ron?
Yeah, and they were telling them they were doing controlled burning at the time.
Yeah, so we got controlled burns going on. Well, this hog runs about 3 miles to the Flint River, and it was about a 7-mile race that they ran it. And so what you try and do when you got something like that going on, where you got a dog or a hog really running away, you try and fresh pack dogs to it. So you try to, all right, so the last 3 dogs that come by, you scoop them up. It doesn't really matter who it is, whose dogs they are. You scoop them up, throw them in the buggy, throw them on the four-wheeler, try and get ahead of the race, cut fresh dogs in there, take the ones that are behind or whatnot. You pick them up, and then you just keep doing it, and you just keep fresh packing and try and get close enough to that hog. And that way you keep your dogs fresh, and you can tighten that gap up with the hog. Well, this thing runs and finally hits this clear cut, and it's a nasty cutover. And so I drive up there, and like we're dogs are just swarming around in this clear cut. And I sent my little girl Jip in there, and she trailed in there, and like we're just sitting there talking, waiting for the dogs to find it. And we girl must have snuck out. Well, Cody like calls me. He's like, "Hey, girl's got it bayed in the river," and like she's on this little bitty cypress island and standing up there baying the hog, and all the other dogs fall in. We'd send a couple more dogs to her, so we got, I think, 4 or 5 dogs in the river at this point. And we're right on the part of the Flint River where it comes out of Lake Blackshear, so it's about 125 yards across this river. I mean, it's big. It's flowing fast, and this was in February, so it wasn't super cold outside. It was a real nice day outside, but it was about 50 degrees in that water. And we were sitting there like, who's got the rifle? Like, we'll just shoot it and call the dogs back. Well, the rifle was all the way back at the house. And typically we keep life jackets on Ryan's buggy. And I think we had them, but they were stuffed down behind something, so we didn't see them. So we're sitting there drawing straws to see who swims across it. And
I swim like a rock. I was like, I gotta have a life jacket. And I'll drown.
And I was sitting there thinking the same thing, but I was like, Ryan's got a family. I mean, my mom would be sad that I go. So
hey, Cody didn't hesitate. Cody Godwin, he was stripping out. He was
and Grinner, he was in there. Well, this joker tries like he's like dead in line with the hogs, and I'm looking at this current, and I'm like, nah. I started hoofing. He's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm getting upstream, brother, because like I know I got about 75 yards where I can swim real fast, and then after that I'm gonna be real tired. And man, we swim out there, and the hog comes off of the island and meets us in the middle. Cody swims over to the hog. And I see, like, there wasn't no sense in me swimming over there because there's 5 dogs on it and Cody on it. They're like, too much is too much. So I was like, well, I'm going to try and get to this cypress island. So that way, like, if he starts drowning, I can at least swim down there and drown with him. And, and so I get to this cypress island, and I'm sitting there, like, just about to pass out, like, dry heaving, whatnot. Well, Cody stuck the hog, and then he swims, catches a root, and we finally get across to the other bank. And
he lost his pocket knife in the hog.
Yeah, we finally get across to the other bank, and I'm sitting like laying on the shore, like praying, thanking God that he caught me through there, and how stupid I can be sometimes. And I'm sitting there puking, and Cody goes, "Come on, Bubba, they're coming back," because they swam across the river back to the side we started on. and then they swim back across. And he's like, "Come on, Bubba, they're coming back." So we're running down the bank trying to get to them. Well, Ryne and them are on the other side catching dogs, like when the dogs come back, just to try and get the dogs off. And I ended up going and saving Ryan's dog, Stinky Pete, and he was about worn out, and he had a vest on, so it was a little bit harder for him to swim. And so I'd go down there and save him. And Cody and this big old Sal, about 250 pounds, are kind of in a standoff on the riverbank. Like, she's looking up at him, he's looking down at her. He ended up diving on her and catching her on the side of the river, and we got her killed finally. And so at this point, we're off of the property that we're supposed to be on, and they're like, "Hey, we don't have any phones, we don't have any Garmins, we don't, it's 45 minutes to get around because the closest bridge is way off." And so they're like, "Hey, we'll come get y'all," whatever. And so we're laying up there on the bank, just like trying not to puke and pass out. And we hear this truck pull up, and we were like, "Man, that was a quick 45 minutes. They must have found another bridge to cross." And it was these folks that lived over there, and man, they were the kindest folks. They were like, "Hey, Art and them called us and said y'all were down here, and we got them to help us winch the hog out." And they took us over to their house and give us some dry clothes, which was really, really nice. And then Ryne and his dad ended up coming to get us. But that was one of my favorite ones. And we were walking into the gas station. Ryne was putting me on Snapchat or something. I said, "You might outrun our dogs, but you ain't outrunning me and Grinner." And that one was pretty awesome because not only swimming the river and whatnot, but the dog work it took to get us to that point was really fine dog work. And that was something that I'll always remember, and I'll remember the time I almost drowned in the Flint River. So that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryne?
Oh man, there's a bunch. I'll probably say, I think it was August, right? Is there July? In August, right beginning of August. It was August, and me and Carter went and hunted a cornfield not too far in Oglethorpe County, and just me and him. We strolled out of here about 11 p.m. at night, and it was hot. Man, it was hot. And we just sent the dogs, cast the dogs into this cornfield. Like, that's one of the best things about it. Like, me and Carter don't run many cameras, so we don't know what's on properties. We just kind of let it do its thing. We'll see. It's really a surprise what we catch. So we sent the dogs out. We heard a big tussle about 500 yards in this cornfield. When they kept circling in there, dogs were trying to bait up in this cornfield, bait up. Well, it broke. And when the hog made a mistake, when it broke, it ran into like a little ravine that split the two cornfields together, like an oak bottom. And that's when the dogs were hammering in there. And I got a pretty rough dog named Stinky Pete. And we call him Stinky Pete because it don't matter if you were hunting at the end of my driveway or 3 hours away, he's going to poop in the box.
Every time.
It's automatic. It's automatic.
Which is a criminal offense for hog doggers. Like, nobody likes dogs that take dumps in the box. Pete's good enough where we just deal with it.
Yeah. You got to make exceptions to the rules and stuff. But anyway, we had Stinky Pete in there. It had Daisy. I don't know who else was in there. Swayze, Girl, which is Carter's dogs. Then we had 12, which is like Carter's best bay pen dog. So it really is not. I mean, it does both, but it's his best bay pen dog. And they're in there, and we're walking to this hog. And the best thing about hog hunting is to get your adrenaline going. Is when you hear nothing. Like, you hear the dogs, they're quiet, they're treed. You hear like this when it's usually squealing, it's usually a smaller one. So when you hear something that's going like that, man, it gets me going, because like that's the thing about hog hunting I like it most. It's like Forrest Gump says, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. That's what like hog hunting is when you don't run a camera and stuff like that. You don't know what you're going into. So you're going in this brush pile and you're moving dog fennels back and moving through there. Then all of a sudden it was, if anything, me and Dave Williams caught a 391-pound hog not about 2 months ago. This hog was probably 100 pounds bigger than that. And I'm not even kidding. Me and Carter got there. We're hooping and hollering, screaming, excited. We flipped the hog. We get it tied up. My dad just had shoulder surgery like 2 days prior, and he was at the house, and he couldn't go on this hunt. I said, we get the hog tied up. We're checking on the dogs. We had some dogs had some injuries, so we took him back to my house. My wife's veterinarian, so she's working on these dogs in our kitchen. I'm looking at my kitchen right now, working on these dogs in the kitchen floor, sewing them up, taping them up, doing everything she
was
can do.
Really excited for us to wake her up at
And
midnight.
the kids.
Yeah. 2 dogs that needed some work.
Yeah, so we get them situated. It was nothing too bad, but we got them situated. And then I went and got my dad. I woke him up. I said, "Man, you got to come see this hog. This is probably the biggest hog we ever caught." So we drive back to the property and we took some pictures with it. Man, it was massive, and that's probably one of the best hunts I'll always remember forever, because that was my buddy Carter, and we'll cherish it, man. And like, me and Carter strong dudes, like me and Dave Williams and Daniel Brad. That's that big hog that's in that picture. Me and Dave Williams and Daniel Bradbury and some other guys, Trey Lovin, like that 391-pound hog the other day. We caught that hog. We was able to move that and do everything we could with just 2 people. This hog, me and Carter, pretty stout guys. We could not budget off the ground to get in the back of the buggy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So we dispatched it right there. It's this hog right here. Fortner Taxidermy did a good job on it. We dispatched it right there. We gutted it, and then we're like, okay, we can get this now since we gutted it. That's a lot of weight, Still couldn't budget to lift this thing up to try to get in the back of the buggy. So we cut the back hands off and the back straps out, and we finally was able to get that hog into the back of the buggy. And then, we got over to the house and caped it out and everything. I think the cape weighed like 167 pounds or something like that. The cape in the head, it was something crazy. A big old hog. So that's probably the one I remember the most.
That's awesome. Now, I know you guys do, you organize a lot of hunts, you connect the community together. I know y'all do a lot of charitable things too. So with all that being said, can you kind of tell us what's next for Boars and Broads, what you guys got on the calendar, any news, kind of anything you want to invite people to, anything like that?
For sure. So the past couple of years, we had our buddy Josh Stander. His daughter had passed away, so we hosted a memorial hunt for her in the past. And this year, we've kind of gone from that. We're starting a new little hunt. We're going to call it the inaugural Boar Bash. It's going to be January 21st to the 24th. The weigh-in's going to be the 24th in Abbeville, Georgia, where they host the Okmulgee Wild Hog Festival, the same grounds. Each year we've done it. We've given back and done like a raffle or something like that and benefited something. So like last year we benefited or gave money to the Hurricane Helene victims in North Carolina and stuff like that. This year we're giving back to Courageous Outdoor Kids. It's a nonprofit organization out of Dublin, Georgia, ran by Tommy Wyndham and some other great fellows. We've done some hunts with them. We've got news that he created that company because like Make-A-Wish and stuff like that kind of got away from doing hunts from their stuff. So their company, their nonprofit organization does hunts for kids with illnesses, ailments, special needs, cancer, stuff like that. So they're a great group of folks. So we're going to host a raffle at the event. We'll have some donated items through many companies. Like, I don't know. Last year we raised over like $3,000 to give to Helene victims. Hopefully this year we raise some more money to give to Courageous Outdoor Kids. But it's always been a good event. We try to just get the hog doggers and community together. Last year we hosted at Fieldstone Outdoors, which was in just near Macon, Georgia. It was a good event. We had a good turnout. We probably had 300 people there. We're just each year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're just trying to get the community involved and have a good time. Get a fellowship with people. You have the hog hunters come from Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, just the surrounding states, South Carolina, and just to get everybody, all them hunters together and spend time, tell stories, tell lies, and cut up, have a good time. It's a great experience, and it's something that other hunters need to see because they don't realize. I mean, like I said, we're the black sheep of the hunting community. Dog hunters are, and to see us stick together and do something good and put it out in the community is what we strive to do. Like I said, we're all not bad. Yeah, you see a bunch of people like all them thank yous, thank you to this, thank you to that. Those are people that have donated to the hunt. So this year we're giving out 54 belt buckles, and those things aren't cheap. So that's over $5,400 just of belt buckles, not including prizes and stuff like that that would be given out. So yeah. That's
awesome. We're Courageous Kids are some friends of ours, and we do some things with them as well. So I know that's a noteworthy cause, and I'm excited that you guys are partnering up with them for that. That's awesome. We love the team over there. That's really cool to hear. Carter, any news you want to share with the community out there that you guys got going on or coming up?
No, I mean, our boar bash is about the biggest thing. And, like Ryan was saying, it's really nice to, see everybody and get to see, like, I mean, we got teams from like 8 or 9 different states. Like some of our buddies come out from all the way from Texas to hunt in it. And, we legitimately have a great time out there. And it's really nice to get to see everybody and fellowship with everybody. And, and the thing that I love the most about it is our tournament, like, is 100% payback. It's probably one of the biggest I'll just go ahead and say it is the biggest payout on this side of the Mississippi of any hog tournament there is. Like, it's the biggest payout. Like, it's 100%. And that's the thing, everybody, like, the first year we did it, people were like, oh, well, I'm not hunting in it. I already know them boys are going to say so. We have, at this point now, we pay for 3. So if you hit a money pot, then you have to take a polygram. Like we've never had an issue with anybody failing the polygram or anything like that, or polygraph. We've never had any issues with that. And it's an honest thing. Like, we want the team that did the best to win, and we don't really care if they're our buddies or whatnot. Like, of course we want our buddies to hunt the tournament. Of course we do. We want everybody to hunt the tournament. And but we do our best to build a tournament that is competitor friendly, and we're not in it for us. And like, Ron said it 100 times, but one of the things that, like, people get misconstrued about Ryne and I is they think we're like making a killing off of this company. And like, we've not, neither one of us has taken a paycheck from Boars and Broads. We've actually donated a lot of our own money and time into Boars and Broads and actually lost money on it. So it's not like we're out here making a killing. It's not like we're trying to make a killing. Like, we want to give a quality product to people at a decent price point. And I think we've really done that. And we want to promote the sport in a positive light. There's a lot of negative aspects. Like, if you get on hog hunting on Facebook, like, people will just go to war all the time. And like, there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of envy in this sport. And, it's really nice to see people come together and there's not fist fights and everybody's having a good time. And people are learning from each other rather than learning from each other, uplifting each other, making new connections rather than, what seems to be the typical a lot of times, which is putting each other down. So we've really done a good job and putting that together. And the Boar Bash is kind of like our crown jewel for that. Like, we get a ton of people. Like, there's a lot of hog hunters, and then like there's honestly a lot of people that don't know anything about it that just like to come watch, and then they get to look at all the hogs and see everything going on. And like, there's a ton of people out there that are either heavily involved or not involved at all, and there's something for everybody at that event. So we hope to see as many people there as we can see. So and it's for a great cause.
Yeah, and there'll be food vendors there, hog dog vendors there. There'll be music, bounce houses for the kids. We try to make it a whole shindig for everybody to enjoy.
We all
remind us of the dates on that one more time. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Kimberly.
I just asked the same thing you did, Jake. I asked him to tell us the dates one more time.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so the hunt dates is January 21st through the 24th. The hunt starts when January 21st becomes January 21st. It starts. Y'all can start going and getting after it. But the weigh-in is the 24th of January. And like I said, it's going to be at the Okmulgee Wild Hog Festival. I can find the road name. It's like downtown Abbeville where they host it. Our good buddy Dalton Luther, and he's kind of on the board of the Okmulgee Wild Hog Festival, and we're hosting it there to help out with their festival and Mother's Day weekend, which is in May. But like I said, January 24th is the weigh-in, so you don't want to miss the weigh-in. We'll say people start coming in around 10 o'clock to hang out. The weigh-in, you got to be in line by, like, I don't know, I have to look at this thing. Last year, it's always been like 2 or 3 o'clock. You have to be in line to weigh in your hogs around that time. So you come right around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, it's going to be popping for sure, January 24th.
It sounds like an awesome time, man. And I just want to tell you guys how much we appreciate you joining us. I mean, I looked up and 45 minutes just blew by listening to you guys talk about this. And
Man, we can talk.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have. I mean, I can't imagine the stories that get told at your events and the things that you guys do and at your tournament and all that stuff. And man, we just really appreciate you coming on, educating us. I feel like I learned a lot, and good luck. Everything you do, good luck. We're friends now. We're friends before, and we'll always be that way. So y'all take care, and we can't wait for everybody to hear your story.
Yeah,
Well, we appreciate y'all having us. I want to speak one thing. You know, you said we're friends now because of this. Yeah. Since starting Boars and Broads, man, and Carter can testify, we have traveled all over the Southeast, anywhere that's got a hog, and we have made some of the lifetime friends just by a dog and a hog together. I can drive. If I break down in Mississippi, I can make a quick phone call. Somebody will come help me. It's crazy the relationships that this brand and company has made over the past couple of years, and I can't be thankful enough for God just letting us experience this and put this into play in our lives. And I just wanted to get that out there to let everybody know that we're thankful.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. You guys are worthy of it for sure. And like I said, great. All the best of luck to Boars and Broads, and we hope that you guys continue to kill it. And like I said, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank y'all. Y'all be safe.
All right, Kimberly, that was so entertaining. I was so fired up about that interview. And honestly, I've known Ryne for a while, like I mentioned in the interview. So I knew that there was going to just kind of be an energy to that. Not only that, but just knowing what hog hunting with dogs is all about. Mm-hmm. It's just a special breed. It's, like I remember a few weeks ago when we had Taylor Rampley on, and Braylon cracked me up by saying, hey, there's something about you turkey hunters. All of you are kind of nuts. And it's kind of the same thing about those hog doggers. They're all just a little bit wacky.
Well, you said it. You said a different breed, not only in dog, but also in human. First time I ever got to talk to Ryne and Carter, I was like, okay, there's something different about this. Good and special, but different. So dog owner, hunter, hog dogger, different breed, dog, different breed. And one I can now appreciate for sure.
No doubt. What was your favorite part of the interview? I know that one of those things is, Stinky Pete's going to be a legend now.
Yeah, for sure. Stinky Pete. Anytime you throw poo in a story, it just gets a little funnier. So I can certainly appreciate Stinky Pete by far. But also, just their energy behind what they do, and that it's not just, hey, this is something that gets our adrenaline going. This is something that we love, just going and taking an animal. But the fact that they've kind of like nerded out about it, that they've took time to understand the science, the conservation side behind it. And then even with their dogs, why it's important to keep them running for their biological needs and all of those things. So for me, it's probably that Carter and Ryne and Boars and Broads and all the other hog doggers that they have relationships with. It's not just about what they do, but it's about why they do it. That's probably my favorite part about those guys and getting to talk to them.
No doubt about it. And, you can tell how much they love their animals. Mm-hmm. I mean, they love their dogs. They're crazy about them. I mean, when Carter told us, hey, I was swimming over because if she started struggling to swim, we were going to drown together. Like I was just going to do it together. And then the other part that I love with the Stinky Pete thing is how good do you have to be at your job that you can't stop committing a cardinal sin and you get to keep doing it, like anywhere else. I grew up hunting with dogs. Like we hunted fox, we would run coyotes. A lot of folks are not familiar with it, but down around Pearson and we'd Lappahaw hunting club and all of that stuff. We used to run deer. There was a dog hunting season for deer. And so we loved running our dogs. One poops in the dog box, he becomes a pet. He does not become a hunter anymore, but Stinky Pete's so good at his job that he gets to do both.
I admire to be like Stinky Pete, that I'm so good at my job. I can't give you a reason to get rid of me.
All of us should aspire to be Stinky Pete, no doubt about it. Well, folks, we really appreciate you tuning in. We really appreciate you helping us get through another awesome episode of the Field Notes podcast presented by GON Outdoors. Next week, we got a special guest. Jay Maxwell from 4610 has committed to spend a little time with us. We're really excited about that. He's going to talk to us about deer hunting, about faith, about family. We love Jay. You know, I met him this past year at the Georgia the GON Outdoor Blast. Presented by Ag Pro, and just a wonderful human being and a wonderful man who's had a lot of success in the deer woods in the state of Georgia. Probably talked to us about being a great woodsman. He is such a well-rounded hunter. I believe he's actually this week when we're putting this podcast out. I believe he's in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, out hunting.
Right.
So he's all about it. He's all about it, and we're certainly excited to bring him on. But in the meantime, you guys get outdoors, enjoy it. Go if you don't want to shoot the deer, get out and watch them. If you want to fish, get out and fish. We just want to encourage you to get out and enjoy God's creation. In the meantime, like I always say, we'll be putting together another pretty good episode of the Field Notes for you. Y'all take care.